So let's get started, shall we? So one of the first things I did was I went out to my yard and I fixed my fire ring. This is just a bunch of old cement, broken cement and rocks and stones and stuff that I have. And I kept a little time lapse video of it. So I just wanted to get this done because it was too small and it was a problem, and it was like the yard slopes a little bit, so everything was it just felt janky when I was trying to build fires in here. You can see all the nails from all the old like pallet wood and stuff I burnt. There's no way I dig out some of the bigger pieces, but so many nails in there. It's like, yeah, don't step in there, you're gonna die. Oh, it's okay. It was no worries. But yeah, it's good to see you, dude. And yeah, that's what happened. So, all right. So I got that redone, and I felt like it was a pretty big success compared to what it was. I had just taken a couple rocks out before I started this video, but it was very small and kind of just janky. And I thought, this looks a lot better. And then today, I took a couple of these bricks, and I actually propped them up on their ends, and I put an old oven rack I have, and I cooked hamburgers today over the fire pit, and that was delicious. Yes, it is a fire pit, and yeah, I'll cook hot dogs over it. We'll cook s'mores, use it just to kind of sit around and evenings or whatever. But yeah, it was very cool. The burgers today, I mean, mwah, it was so good. Even my family were just like, they were just kind of going on and on about it. They were that good. But I have some silver maple from a tree that got cut down. So I split that up and used that to burn. And I think probably that maple smoke was a big part of what made the flavor so good. Yeah, Piggy, he did. Yep. Should be at ground level, would be better to dig it in a little. No, ground level's best for this situation. Well, it was dug in at first, but it just builds up over time. So yeah, eventually I probably could, but I'd need a big magnet to get all that steel out of there. So yeah, Piggy, it's tough. It's real tough, and that's okay. Take your time. All right, so on to the garage. Now, I'm not going to deal with the floor yet. I'm going to show you later because I got into the floor. What happened was, actually 3D gave me the idea, and I think it's going to work out in the end. I think it's going to work out great. But what happened was I have this kind of gravel dirt floor. I can show you probably in my other project one of these photos. Yeah, this photo will show you. See how it's just really dirty and gravelly, and of course I had chips of wood and stuff, and it's kind of a mess. It's not very nice. Not very nice. It's especially try to work on a car or whatever. It's so dirty in there. If I wanted to lay down on it to, look up and work on a car, I didn't want to deal with that. So I was like, all right, some way I can fix this floor, but I don't have the $3,000-$4,000 to put into pouring the cement. Even just paying for cement itself is like about $1,200 probably to have the right amount of cement. So it's pretty tough. Yeah, Piggy, Team Deathmatch is great. It's a lot of fun. If it doesn't work, I'm going to feel horrible for no, it's okay. I think it's great. I think it's going to be fine. You do? Well, I don't know what you mean, but okay. All right. So what I did was I took a bunch of cement bags, 4 or 5 cement bags, poured them on the floor, mixed it into the dirt and to the gravel, and then put water on it and then tamped it down, right? With like a heavy thing. And the only issue I've had so far is it drying out. It's still not completely dry, but cement that dries really slow, I know, is the best. Like, it gets the hardest when it's allowed to dry really slow. It tends to not be half as brittle, and it won't crack half as easy if it's allowed to dry super slow. So I think the moisture from the dirt has been in there, and you know what I mean? It's like hard to get it to dry, but I think if it will dry out, and it is drying out. It is. It's just taking a long time. But if it will dry out well, Because I did the project at almost the very beginning of when I took off, what, a week and a half ago or whatever. So I think it's going to end up being like great. We'll see. Oh, nice, Piggy. No worries. If you want me to call you Justin, I will certainly call you Justin. But Piggy's fine either way. I see it on the chat, so that's what I usually call people by, what they see, because I have bad memory. Guys, get some drinks that I want, but it's hard to get. Oh, got it. Well, you tell me what kind of drinks. You let me know. If it's alcohol, that could be a problem. Because I don't drink, so I don't know where to get stuff. Was it passable? Well, here's the thing. Even at the very least, I don't care if it cracks. I really don't. Like, I could care less. What I'm trying to prevent is just getting dirty. I am so sick of that dirt on that floor. Like, that's what's annoying me the most. So as long as I can avoid that, I really don't care. Like, I seriously could not care less. So yeah, I'm at this point, it seems like it's I don't know, feels like it's working well. So let's go from there. Take it how I can get it. All right, let's down. So that's what I did, and it's a learning curve to learn how to deal with cement that you're mixing with dirt, because it does act different than cement. You don't just pour it and leave it, right? You kind of have to mess with it and tamp it down and make sure you pack it good, and because what you're doing is you're trying to create a thick crust on the top. Is really what you're trying to do. You're trying to kind of mix the cement in so the whole thing, the whole 3, 4, 5 inches. But that meant I had to chop hard packed gravel / dirt in a garage that has had cars in it and people, working on it for. This thing has got to be from this garage is probably built somewhere way back in the 40s, 50s, 60s. So it's been, probably 70 years of hard packed gravel and dirt and oil and everything. So it was really hard to chop up that top layer, like really hard. Well, yeah, Jackson. So the idea is, what I'll do is I'll just put plywood down. I don't care. I think if I get through like 3/4 inch plywood and I put as a base, even pull my car in on top of 3/4 inch plywood, maybe even paint the plywood so it resists the oil. Get like treated plywood and then put some, well, it wouldn't even matter. Actually, the oil would help the wood. And then it would just, I don't know. I don't really care. Like I said, it saves me the $1,000. I met a guy like the day before I started the project. I met a guy who said he would do the whole garage with blacktop for $1,500, but I don't have $1,500. So yeah. Dr. Pepper with cream soda. You also get vanilla and cherry Dr. Oh, I got you, Wills. Okay. Strawberry and cream Dr. Pepper too, but it just tastes weird. Got it. Okay. All right, we got the. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. You have to let me know. But yeah, I think it will be just fine 3D. Like I said, just the fact to get the dirt off my back when I don't want to lay in dirt, and I think you'll see what it looks like. Like I said, it could crack, it could whatever, but as long as it just simply is not dirt, I don't care. The cans are bigger as well, really. That's funny. So I did the floor. The floor was wet. I couldn't do anything else. I was going to install lights. I was going to do some painting because I want to paint the cement block so that it's bright in there so I can see when I'm working on cars and stuff and doing projects. So I was going to do that, but because the floor was wet, I couldn't step on. I couldn't do anything. So it was like half of the garage. I'm like, all right, forget this. This window needs attention. This section of the garage. So, and here's why. Do you see this big crack gap that's forming? So basically the garage around that window, the whole building is kind of doing this. It's kind of it's kind of doing more like that. It's kind of separating because this is on a bit of a hill. Well, the hill kind of, and from your perspective, kind of goes down like this. Anyway, so the whole building was kind of just cracking and splitting and separating a little bit. Yeah, I will, Piggy. I got you. Thank you. Yeah, I usually refer to him as Pallet Son. That's why, Piggy. No worries. But I'll do my best to tell him you said hello. Yep. 13 fluid ounces compared to our 11. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha, 3D, no worries. So, cracking had to somehow find a way to keep the building from separating. Right? So I was like, all right, well, let's tackle this then. See the big old crack? Not good. All right, Piggy, no worries. So I was just trying to take some pictures of this window. The window is a mess. Like, old window, getting dry rotted, etc., etc. Yeah, it was. You need a smuggler. That's right. You do. I get it. So here's all of the cracking. Obviously, I'm taking several pictures of the cracking, but you can see it's bad. So this is how the window was at the top. It was just the top board that goes across, that attaches everything. There was bolts going into a couple of the blocks that they had cemented on the top, but that was only kind of holding in the top layer. The whole garage could shift with wasn't in the greatest position. This is the outside. You see how dry rotted? It had this this metal like just netting here to kind of keep people from throwing rocks or whatever. But all the chinking and stuff was like coming loose. See how rotted it is? It's really, really bad state. It's in a really bad state. This bottom piece of the upper window was like drooping here. It's really bad. Always come damaged at one time. It was so bad they marked it undeliverable. Really, Hot Wheels? Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, that's really too bad, for sure. Hey, Electric Kitty, welcome in. Yeah, it was bad. The window is in bad state. You know, it's just a garage window, but still. See, it's like separating. The whole window is going to fall apart eventually. So, I took the window out because my brother, who's a contractor, gave me the idea. He said, really what needs to happen in this area is you need something at the top. You need a beam somehow installed at the top to keep this building from, you know, just separating. One sneeze from death. It was a little tougher than when I went to take it apart, but I'll show you that. But it still was not in a good shape. Yeah, it was not in good shape at all. Very old, dry rotted wood. Yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah, so I had to jack. I used the same piece of log that I used to jack up my other wall. I used that to kind of jack this up and get the blocks out. I was going to take this whole block, but I couldn't because it was bolted in. So you'll see I took a part of it out. So I pulled this all out. You see, I used my car jack to jack it up. It is a log. Yes, it is a log from the tree that was cut down next to me. It's now been useful in 2 projects. I'm half tempted to keep it around. I probably should shave off the bark and turn it into a beam. You know, like a shaped beam, but oh well. Anyway, so I lifted it up. As you can see, there's the outside. I tried to separate this block, but like I said, this block had the bolt, and this block had the bolt coming down to hold the top board on. So you'll see eventually I had to just break this block in the center. But I'll show you what I did. So I got some cement out, and I mixed some cement in my trowel here. I got the window out. Okay, there's the floor. Do you see how the floor looks? It's got a bunch of dirt on here, and this corner is a little bit gravelly. Like, I didn't get as much like cement powder back in this corner, but out through the entry, which is where it's going to get most of its use, it's actually pretty smooth. Yeah, I think the floor looks really good, if that's what you're referencing. Been playing House Flipper IRL. Oh yeah, 100%. But I'm not planning on flipping this thing. Yep. Okay, got it. Yeah, I think the floor turned out really good. I didn't really get a good picture because I wasn't really done with it. You know what I mean? And I really wanted to do this side. So what I have to do is wait for this to dry, move everything from the one side of the garage to the other, and then do the other side. So I wasn't gonna like focus on it. And I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, so I was just kind of like waiting, but I was like, we'll see. No, I'm not for hire, Hot Wheels. I It's hard for me to motivate for my own projects, let alone somebody else's. I really, really am. All right, so then in the process somewhere, I went to this store that we have. I had a bunch of glass bottles from the sodas I drink. Had a bunch of glass bottles I need to get rid of. So I knew there was a place in town that was a construction, like recycled construction place. They have a lot of old stuff in there that people donate and they just resell it, right? It's like a secondhand store for construction equipment. Yeah, Shaden has dibs. That's right. That's right. Shaden does. You're right. She asked first the other day. So what I did is I went there and I bought this vent for $2. Okay, these are like $20 vents at least. $2. Brought it home, painted it up real nice, and then I took out. You guys know this vent back here that I have. That I had a janky like wood thing that I turned this piece of wood, I slid it down and all the holes lined up so the air would kind of come through. It was a mess. So I took that piece of wood out, I cut it out, but unfortunately I had a knot here and the knot split out, so I had to glue the knot back in. It's like a restore, Shay, but it's not a restore, if that makes sense. We could make wheel pallet box of doom. Yeah, probably could. Yeah, it might be a little tough. Might be a little tough. So yeah, it's very much like a restore, but it's not like it's not branded, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, pretty much the same idea. So they had those vents. They had a bunch of other cool stuff. You know, obviously you don't need right now, but it's definitely a place I'm gonna peruse through in the future. So I got that frame cut out, and then I used a little bit of foam. I was very proud of myself how well this project went. Cut the foam out. This is some old packing foam I had from, like, I don't know, something I bought. I keep all this old crap because I'm this kind of guy, right? So I put all the foam in there. I made sure to, like, you know, protect the screw when I was screwing it down so I didn't damage anything. And there is what the vent looks like with the face off. I took the face out. And voila. You keep that kind of crap too? Beautiful. The fractal vice immediately make grabby hands. Did you see the fractal vice? Wait, what? Did I make grabby hands? I don't know, did I? Packing foam is good for real, soundproof. Yeah, I hear it is. It probably is very well. Yep. What project this is? Piggy, this is a project for my room. This was a vent that I did in my room that was in the process of doing my garage. I decided to go ahead and take care of this little vent while I was in the middle of my garage project. Adam Savage did a video on a fractal vice. Oh, okay, got it. I'll have to look that up. If you guys want to link it, feel free. That sounds interesting. Oh, the fractal. Yes, I saw that. I didn't watch the video, but I saw it because it's like a wrench being like held. Yeah. Hand tool rescue Dia video. Yeah, that's one. Okay. Immediate grabby hands. Okay. I don't know why vices are always. Yeah, it's right. It does. It grabs. That's funny. So anyway, I got this little vent project done in the middle of doing everything else. It's all right, Piggy. No worries. No, yeah, you're good. You're asking questions. You're good. No worries at all. Yeah, no sweat. So there it is, and it opens and closes real nice, and it looks real nice, and I'm just so happy. No, me, I wants it. No need for it. Okay. Yeah, the picture looked super satisfying to see how that vice held that wrench. So there it is. And if you notice, do you see the nice foam? Like no air escapes around it. Anyway, I was super proud of it. It's such a small little project, but it was like very satisfying to accomplish in the middle of the other project. Anyway, laying down all day with my legs over my heart. Now I feel lazy. No, you don't. No, you don't. Listen, dude, if I was, if I had to deal with that crap, I'd have to do the same thing. No, your worth is not based on what you can do. If you can do something, don't do it. Maybe you could feel bad, but there's a lot of stuff you can't do, dude. And that's not being you're lazy or terrible. But yeah, I'm sure it's very disheartening. I'm sure it is. But don't beat yourself up. So I went to the store and I bought some treated lumber. I have not Hot Wheels. I don't think so. Bought some treated lumber, put it all together, and I made myself a Beamerooski. Let me show you what it looks like here in a second. Look, I put these little pieces in, put these clamps on. This beam is like 8 inches wide. Look at that thing. Look at that thing. I glued it and then screwed it with like 6-inch screws, which obviously don't go all the way through, but I did 2 from either side, so it does hold. I think it should 3D, yes. Brain says we don't have the dopamine. Yeah, I know, Shay. I know. It's a tough struggle. I know it is. Like I said, I'm shocked at times how much motivation I do have. So I feel you. So yeah, there's a big, wide 8-inch wide beam now, 8 inches tall. There it is. I glued it. Carpenter's adhesive. I just put a ton of it in between every layer, screwed it together, and voila! Now it was a booger getting in there. I had to jack up one side, put in a bunch of like spacers, jack up the other side, put in space. It was tough. You see how I had to like break this block to half, and I know you're on a block. This triggers my OCD a little bit, but I don't really like. It's the only thing I could do. So then what I did here is I poured cement down both of these columns. You know, these are hollow in the inside, so I poured cement all the way up through there. So both of these columns on either side of the window have cement all the way down, like top to bottom. And then about the I'm gonna say the top maybe 3 blocks or so, I have a big piece of rebar. Rebar in both of those. Then what I did, so we got rebar, cement. I even poured cement down the second column, but it got stuck somewhere in here, so I only think it's like the top 2 or 3 feet. You've been watching Escape to Rural France, and they paint a type of seal under the wood. Okay. Yeah, there's a little trick I did, but I'll show you in a little bit. I don't know if it's going to help, but we'll see. Your first ever non-poetry book soon. Oh, yeah, it was by all means. Please do. Please do. So I jacked it all up, got in position, and that's exciting. That's cool. Should you seal it? Should I seal this? This is treated lumber. I am going to paint it. Yeah, I am going to paint it. Treated lumber, as it stands, is designed to go. It's heat pressure treated, but it also is infused with a some sort of substance. Well, I don't know what it is. It's some sort of treatment that it's designed to be stuck right in the ground for many, many years. Build decks and stuff out of treated lumber. It could go bad, but if you keep it painted, keep something on it, it shouldn't be too bad. It'll last a long time. So I will paint it, but yeah. All right, so here's the other trick I did. So I poured cement all the way down. I put rebar all the way, couple 3 feet. So then I took my leftover pieces of rebar. I was only going to put one, but then I was like, I have these little extra pieces. So I drilled holes at an angle, and I hammered pieces of rebar down. Because what I wanted to do, I have 2 columns, right, on either side of the window. I wanted to keep that top beam somehow, to keep it from separating like this or pulling away, the wall from pulling away. So I wanted to have a little bit of anchor points that would keep that top from splitting or moving. At least something. Rebar is like round steel. It's reinforcement steel. See how it's like a post of steel? Looks like huge nails, but it's just, you can cut it in lengths, and they put it into cement to strengthen the cement. Yeah, there you go, 3. That's a much better explanation. Rods of steel, that's right. So I pounded these rods of steel, the rebar, down into at least a couple inches, and then I chipped out the cement. I was going to do it into the soft cement, but the timing didn't work out, and this hardened up before I really got to that. Then I used mortar. And this is type S mortar, which is good for structures. So if you notice, I put in spacers, treated lumber spacers, to make sure it would rest on spacers, screwed it into the top board. You know, I screwed this into the board, you know, this top board as well. But then I put in this. So once this, well, this is dry now, but once it would dry up, this whole thing is going to lock together. Like, the whole thing ain't going nowhere. You know, it'd have to be like an earthquake or something. Yes, structural mortar. Yep. Type S, 100%. Yeah, I had learned that from the previous thing because I was in the Home Depot and there was a cement guy there. And he was like, hey, make sure you use Type S if you're using it on structures. So, yes. Made from plywood and paper. We call it stud wall internally and brick externally. Okay. All right. Yeah, we don't use as much brick in the U.S. Some brick facades, but yeah, we use a lot of what's called plasterboard or whatever. Yep. And a little bit of plywood. We don't really use plywood in walls, though. We use plasterboard, and it's... Yeah, our housing isn't particularly super strong. Ours will outlast, really? Yeah, well, I don't know. That's probably some cheap stuff as well. Slayer, yeah, right. It's a duct tape. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, maybe so, Hot Wheels. I don't know. I think it depends on who's building the house and which house it is. Like, I've seen some housing that's pretty shoddy. And then another of it is done really, really, really well. So, I don't know. And obviously, if you're like in hurricane areas that get hit real hard, you know, they build those houses usually a lot better. But at any rate, so I used mortar pretty well. Now, here was the pain in the patoosker. I took this window out and I had to shorten this window by about 8 inches, right? All right, this was a project and a half. All this rotted wood, there was bits on, you know, pieces like this baseboard, it was rotted. Some of these face pieces were rotted, pretty bad enough where I had to probably replace them. Here's the weights inside the window. The way this window works, it's got these little pulleys, and the window has rope that goes up and around to these weights. These weights are in the sides of the window. They would actually be they'd be hanging. See that little pulley? They'd hang right there. So when you lifted the window, the weights would pull down, and it's perfectly balanced to where it barely takes any strength to lift and lower the window. Place was built to cost over here. Been in my new place 3 years, and it's got holes in it. Really? Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that's unfortunate. There's places like that over here too, though. It happens. So, here we go. Those are old, I know. And I didn't have any money left in my budget to buy another window. So, guess what Pallet did? He rebuilt the window. Now, he did have a couple issues with the glass. The glass already had a couple holes. There's a hole right in the middle, a BB hole. Somebody shot a BB gun through it probably years ago. At a hole, and you'll see what happens. But see how bad the wood was? It was bad. So I took it all apart. This is the window frame, all disassembled. I put this cross piece on here just to keep it in play. There's some pieces I had to glue. Yes, unexpected indeed. Yes. Victorian and Edwardian Renos. Yeah, they are old. I don't know how old, but I mean, this window is an old wooden window. It's probably pre-built, you know, but it's probably at least from the 50s. 1950s. So, I took these weights, and I shined them up with my grinder. I was like, you know what? This is good practice for dealing with my car rust. They're pre-1960s? Really? Okay, all right. I don't know. I'm guessing. You love fishing. Oh, nice. Fishing is great, Piggy. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Good. Good. I would like to be able to do more. Haven't got to really fish in several years, actually. So, here's Pallet reworking. This was the baseboard. This board was bad. So, I got one of my treated boards I had left over, and I cut it to size. I actually put the notch in. As you can see, I did everything. 2 notches, actually. I cut this with a I didn't have my table saw available. So, well, it wasn't really in a good spot, so I used my circular saw, but I was able to cut the notch. Did everything. There's me gluing the frame, parts of the frame, because it was rotted and broken. Had that all clamped. Blah 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 blah. All right, there's the window sill board that I'm, getting cut to positioning. And I repainted these guys too, to prevent them from rusting again. So amazing wood hardeners and things, though. I even know how to glaze glass into frames out. Really? Nice. Very cool. Parents bought a three bed, 2 bathroom, dining room here in the 80s and only worked 3 times in 30 plus years. However, my place is 3 years old and needs work already. Yeah, I get that, Howells, 100%. Yeah, if you don't do it right, water will destroy a house in no time. It's crazy. And here's a flower that my daughter, I think my daughter or my wife planted. So I just had to take pictures. Look how velvety it looks. Pretty flower in the middle of my project. I was like, you know what? Gotta stop and smell the roses, even though that isn't a rose. Very velvety, very pretty. Most of the products are French. Really? Okay. Wood hardeners. I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to look into that. Oh, we're growing tomatoes too, so I had to take a picture of the tomatoes. We just have one. Okay, so here's this is, I couldn't handle it, okay? I dunked my phone accidentally in my jeans that I had used to do some cement work on, and my phone was the last model. It's the 6S, iPhone 6S. It was the last model before they went waterproof. So it was only dunked for maybe 20 minutes. I had it in my pocket. I was like, where's my phone? I went and looked. There it is. It was, I opened the phone up with my iFixit kit. It was totally full of water. I tried to dry it out. I did some alcohol wash in it, and but nothing. Like, it's dead. So, bye-bye phone. So I didn't have any music. Only 20 minutes. Yeah. Only. At any rate, a waterproof phone, that would be fine. But this wasn't waterproof, so it was full of water. So Xavier had given me this old laptop. This is old. This is an old Dell laptop. So I had, this is a portable speaker, Bluetooth speaker, but I had to find a wire to hook it in because this doesn't have, at least the Bluetooth wasn't functioning on it. I couldn't get it to function. But I reinstalled Windows, or I installed Windows 10. This is a Windows 7 PC, but it has an old Centrino processor and only 4 gigs of RAM. So it was slower than Cool Tar in wintertime. It was bad, but it would play music. And you can see there's only like 1 dot of internet access, which I was talking to 3D earlier about. I even went ahead and built a Yagi antenna. I made an antenna. I don't have a picture of it because I might end up working on it on stream at some point. I got to redesign it. I got to fix some things on it because I definitely did some, I messed up. So anyway, but I had enough where at least I had music. So I was able to listen to some music. That was nice. And this whole little process actually turned out really nice. I was happy how it works. And this computer just happens to have those, I probably don't have the button for it. Yeah, but see those buttons? Those are all multimedia buttons. So that's really nice. You can close the lid and just press play, stop, pause, all that. It's really great. Your dad likes to build things? Nice, Piggy. Awesome. Awesome. Oh boy. Anywho, now here's me taking apart the top window. So what I decided to do is like, all right, if I'm going to take 8 inches off, I'm taking it off these panes. I'm going to cut this window down. That's right, 3D. Play nice. That's right. So I was like, all right, because this is already broken. I got to replace this piece of wood. So I already have to disassemble this piece anyway. So I might as well take this apart. So that's what I did. This was pretty technical, and I knew I probably couldn't replicate this joint here. So it's like, all right, well, let's just chip it all. So I had to cut all this away. This was like cement. You know, all these old latches were all rusty. Everything was rusty. So this is what I did. I separated it all, cut the bottom off several inches. See how much I had, like 8-10 inches. Then installed this treated piece of lumber, cut new notches, screwed these in from the bottom, glued them, used some wood putty, and then, as you can see where I cut, and then I had to slowly, I cut the notches to try to mimic the other window. See how bad that was bowed? Really bad. Once I got into some of this lumber, some of this wood wasn't too bad. Oh, this is me showing you the buttons on the... I finally discovered them, like, hey, look at that. I can just press play. Yeah, Hot Wheels, yeah. Needs reglazing. Oh, yeah, they will. Yeah, well, I didn't have glaze, so I used tubes of caulking, which works too. There were some flat tacks. Yep. Flat tacks and glazing. Yep, which is how all those old glass windows were. So, yep, see the flat tack right there? So I reinstalled as many as I could. As many as I could. He builds like these flower boxes, and we have strawberry and lettuce and things. Oh, really? That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. You're growing strawberries. That's really cool. I like that sort of thing. I'd like to do more of that. You repaired a dozen of them? Yeah, they're a pain in the neck, aren't they? Pain in the neck. So at any rate, I had to like use this flat chisel here to kind of push them in place because they're tough to push into place. But so here's the deal. So I got a glass cutter, like one of those where you score the glass and then you have to use this little ball, like a little hammer, to like crack it from the bottom on like the edge. You have to like lay it on the edge. Well, in the process, when I was getting this pane out, I broke it. Right at when I didn't see a tack. I went to lift it out and it snapped. This is old glass anyways. So I was like, oh, that's fine, you know, whatever, you know, but everything else, there's the BB hole from the original. But this is how the top, and I just used, I didn't use glaze, but I used a paintable caulking. It's a mixture of latex and silicone. Ton of big ones. Oh, nice. Yeah, strawberries are so good. Hammer? Well, no, it's... Yeah, well, when I say hammer, it's a little ball. It's a little tool. So it scores. It has like a sharp, like a round thing, a little like, almost like a pizza, tiny little mini pizza cutter kind of thing. And you score the glass on the one side, and then you, underneath, you lay the glass on the edge of a table, and you come up from underneath it and tap it with that little ball. It's like a weighted ball, like a little... Just it's like part of the tool, but what it does is it at that scoring mark, it's supposed to crack it. Well, yes, all these I cut with that tool, and it did actually work out, kind of. There was parts where it didn't crack where it was supposed to crack. So I had to, if you see here, I had to add this little extra because the one window cracked about an inch too high. No, it isn't the best way. It's the only way I had, though. Ay. Oh, well. But I added this extra piece here. It helps to hold the paint in better anyway, so it's fine. And I'm going to paint it. So then I went to do this, the lower part. Now, the problem is that this wood was pretty bad. It was pretty dry rotted. So here's the stupid part. I got almost all done. Just stained glass, you could have asked. Well, I could have asked, didn't know that. But either way, it is what it is. Everything was working fine until, so there's a BB hole right there. I got almost done and there was a nail sticking out and I just had my regular hammer. I was like, well, I'll just tap this. It was right on the edge. I didn't think anything about it. I think it was like a nail sticking up on one of these boards. Because I used the latex on this this chinking as well because it was bad. But see how bad that is? I think that's the trouble nail right there. I went to tap that nail and I cracked it. I cracked the window and like it just went from that little hole in the middle. It just split 3 ways. Hey, what's up, Noah? Welcome in. A lawyer is asking. I plead the fifth. So, you actually don't need one. So, any rate, then the idea was, okay, so I have all this old dry wood. What could I do with it? I don't own anything. Filling it with the BB hole with caulking, that sounds like a great idea. What I was going to do, with the other one, I was thinking about buying a little bit of fluid to, or a little bit of, there was like window repair kits that I have, or that I can get, I know, but I like a resin. So I was gonna do something like that, but I might just replace the bottom pane anyways now that it's cracked in 3 places. Like, it's broken enough with that BB hole. It's only about 20 bucks to change the glass. So, like, you can get a new pane for like $20, which isn't bad. And it's the same price for a new window, or, you know, another window from that whatever, that place that you have to, you know, you can buy secondhand stuff. Yeah, it doesn't fill holes. Yeah, so I probably would just replace it. But here's what I did. I used old motor oil. I did some research online, and I guess used motor oil is really good for wood. Like, really good. It doesn't, it really protects the wood from retaining moisture. Like, really, really good. So, yeah, it was very cool. So I had a bunch of old used motor oil. Silly me keeping all that weird stuff. So I went through this whole thing and I coated it. Coated all the wood, etc., etc. There it is. Old black motor oil. But then here's the pulleys. So I took them out. I dipped them in oil. I kind of shined them up. He drilled holes in all his fence posts, and once a year would use them. Oh, nice. 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 Very cool. So there it is. Small window up top. Got it installed. 60 years. Wow. Yeah, I think it seems to be like a proper way to deal with it. Before he sold the property? Yeah, I got you. So that's what I did. Anytime I saw an old piece of wood, that I basically just soaked the whole thing in motor oil, pretty much. I just painted it on, and it's soaked up, man. That dry wood, that old dry wood, just soaked it right in. And there we go. I got it back in. See the crack? Yeah, I'll probably just, because this piece is, it's kind of hard to reattach, but all I need to do is take this inner trim, this little trim piece out, and I can pull this bottom out. So I can actually replace this pane without too much trouble. So pretty. It actually did turn out really well. Now, it isn't painted yet, which I plan to paint the whole garage, and I'm thinking about actually, now you see how this green, the whole ceiling is like a dark green, which isn't bad. So what I've been thinking about doing is like doing like the trim. Well, you can see this is green as well, which is pretty much the same color. But I've been thinking about doing some sort of green, maybe like a flat green or something for the trim. But I'm not sure. I'll have to paint this with oil-based paint though, for sure. Structurally pretty. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Work of art. Thank you. It was a lot of work. It was a ton of work. Now the window only opens, you know, it obviously goes up to there. So it only opens about 10-15 inches, but it's perfect. It allows enough openage, you know, to get the air coming through, and I think it works well. This is not the Palantir. We're in the Palantir headquarters, but this is the Palantir workshop for sure. So I like redid everything. I put the handle back on. Well, this is where the I was installing or putting in the mortar, and it was really wet. So I had a really cool idea that I felt like really worked out, came to my mind when I pulled down that old mesh, that metal mesh. I went ahead and used that metal mesh as a bit of like rebar for this mortar. I stuffed bits of metal mesh in here, under here, to take up and create a bit of structural integrity to the mortar. So there's quite a bit of metal mesh stuff in between this area. I even did it, well, you can kind of see it, how I see this right here. Well, let's zoom in and let's see the metal mesh right there. So I did that same thing up under here. I'll be doing it in the side walls. I did it on these ends. So when I put the mortar in there, it has something to kind of cling to. It helped to install it, and it helped to it'll help to give it integrity, structural integrity. So I wanted this whole thing like solid, like when it goes back in, when I put all of the mortar back, everything's kind of back in. I want this whole wall to be a unit so that if it gets any pressure one way or the other, it's a solid, a full solid unit. So there we go. And there it is, pretty much done, except I gotta still do the mortar on these bits here. Yeah, this is Gary the Garage. Yeah, this, so it all depends, Shay, on the county and the locality you're in. Some places require permits and some places do not. And depending on who does actually in our particular area, it's depending on what kind of project you're doing, whether it requires a permit, and who's doing it too. So it can, you know, it can, but basically the work is done correctly. You're fine. Window seems a tad drafty. Well, it is right now. Yes. Yes, it is. Well, and it's a single pane window. It's not designed. I'm going to be putting a wood stove in here, so I don't really care about it being insulated. I just needed it to have some light, and it's obviously I didn't get it cleaned. So, but I'm probably going to change this pane so at least it's not broken. I might change this pane too while I'm at it. You know, I might redo it, but just because, you know, why not? Or change all of them, you know, just put brand new glass, because new glass is thicker than this. This is really thin and really brittle. This is old glass. And the glass cutting technique that I used, I think, is good enough that I think I could get away with it. I might just get all these pieces pre-cut. I might buy them pre-cut. So pretty cool. There it is. There it all is. I went through all these cracks. I made sure it was all plastered good. And then I sanded and oiled all of these bits and bobs. The handle must have got some crap on there. I'll have to clean off. And there it goes. It's opened. And it works really well. Like, it opens really, really nice. Speaking of what ifs, I might sing that. And there I am. I was so tired, man. Look at me. Woo, scary. Scary. There it is, ladies and gents. There it is. And I don't have pictures of the antenna, but I'll probably show you guys that. Anything else I did? I think that was it. Man, it was like days and days and days of work. It was crazy. Crazy. So now what is left to do on my next phase, after the floor dries, I gotta move all the stuff over to that left side, do the right floor, and I'm gonna cement a place underneath the one window for a wood stove. And I have to, basically there's a little window, and I'm gonna replace the window with probably metal, like somehow attach a metal sheet in there and then cut a hole and then put my wood stove vent out that, you know, take that whole space of that window, because the window is pretty big, and then cut a hole and put the pipe through that, and make sure I have like a double wall pipe and all that good stuff to make sure it's safe and, you know, up to code. But I've already checked the code enforcement officer on this one. I said as long as you I actually have the manual that they use, right? The code, the law that they use, and as long as I keep it to specs and the inches away from everything and blah 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 blah. He said, yeah, he's like, you can install it as long as you keep it to that code. It's fine. So as far as I know, in my area, I can have a wood stove and it shouldn't matter at all. So I'm really excited about that. Hey, what's up, Cat Puns? Welcome in. But yeah, there we go, guys. There we go. There it is. There's phase 3.